Hi, Tsipi.
Hi, Sarah. It's Tzipi from Israel.
Lovely to see you all.
Love you to be with you. Thank you.
Maggie.
Hello, Saraswati. Happy to join.
You were there in the morning, right?
Yes. Hi, Saras.
Hi, Varalakshmi. Eniko, Uttara, Meenakshi, Mike. Who's the stick? I don't know. Harshita, hi. Nisha, Hariharan, Yoga. Mangai is there. Hi, Mangai. Can I see you? Aparna. Hi, Vimala.
Hi, Saras.
So you're all holding up very well. Hi. I think today the communication came a little late. Did it?
Yeah.
Didn't come yesterday. I just noticed it now.
I was a little worried. So
It should have come yesterday. Sorry about that.
that's okay.
Okay, so we can come to the questions at the end of the session. Just waiting for a couple of minutes and let the others join. I'm so happy all of you are here. And week after week, I find this such a beautiful, nurturing place. Just to come together and do a practice together has been so valuable. Thank you. Hi Krishna, Shanti, Jaya.
Hi Saras, how are you?
Hi Madhvi.
Hello, Saras. How are you?
Fine.
Hi, Saras.
Andre, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Let's just sit quietly for a minute and then I'm going to start the class. Can you please mute your mics and keep them muted through the session? Sahana bhavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryamkaravavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yogena chittasya padena vacha malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram munina patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram shankha chakra sidharinam सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्याम् सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कणभाष्यसारम् श्रीनोत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वम् श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयम् योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। Bring your awareness to the breath. Please sit with your back erect and keep your eyes closed. Just settle down into the natural rhythm of the breath. Just become aware of the rhythm, the quality of your breathing without interfering with it. Just observe the breath without changing it, without having to extend it. A couple of more minutes. Completely relax your body. Just watch, nothing else to do. Just watch your breath. Two minutes must have seemed very long for the mind to not do anything, to simply watch. But this is one of the most important trainings for the mind, to just learn to be the observer. Rather, step out of the way so that the observer can just observe. Now we will begin to extend the exhalation. Bring one hand to the lower abdomen if you want. So you can feel the movement of the lower abdomen. And slowly begin to lengthen your exhalation by drawing the lower abdomen in a very relaxed way and empty the chest, relax the chest as you exhale. Pause for a couple of seconds, wait, complete the exhalation, and then let the inhalation happen. Without making much effort, just let the inhalation happen. At the end of the inhalation, pause for a couple of seconds, and then begin to exhale, starting from the lower abdomen and allowing the chest to fully relax, lengthening and emptying the breath completely. Keep the throat, your mouth, your jaws relaxed. Keep the lips slightly apart. So you're not trapping any air around the throat area. Just let all the air come out. Pause after exhale, and then let the inhalation happen. And now, as you continue to exhale, allow the whole body to relax. The spine, feel the muscles around the spine, supporting the spine. Relax all the way from the neck to your lower back to your hips. Relax your shoulders, relax your chest muscles, relax your abdomen, the diaphragm. Relax the lower part of your body, the legs, the seat. Your throat, your neck, your face, your head is completely relaxed. And keep lengthening the exhalation and pause briefly after the exhalation. The quality of your inhalation becomes very important. It has to be very passive and relaxed in breath, not forcefully drawing the breath in. If you have the tendency to do that, maybe you are extending the exhalation too much or you're holding for too long after exhalation. Complete with this breath and you can open your eyes. So it seems like the lockout period is extending and quite indefinitely. So this situation has not come as a brief interruption in our daily life. It has come to create some kind of profound change to all of us. And when there is a change imposed upon us externally, one of the causes for dukkham is parinama dukkham, the dukkham that comes out of change. And so here we're clearly looking at the changes like a adi bhautika dukkham, something that's happening because of an infection. But yoga says now look within and see how can we use this opportunity to really look deep within ourselves and see how do we not just cope or adapt to this change, But see, what is that shift we have to make at a very, very fundamental level within ourselves as practitioners of yoga? What is that shift that we need to make ourselves, and how is this situation uh, enabling that process? How do we leverage the situation to make that fundamental shift within, and what that shift has to be? We don't know yet. At least I don't know. And not knowing also is not a very comfortable space for us to be in. We're constantly thinking of what is that we need to do to fix the situation. And yeah, so it's almost like a storm, and maybe it's time for us to at least periodically visit the quiet space, the center of the storm, the eye of the storm, what we call. Yeah? They say that the eye of the storm is very, very quiet place. And today's practice is to actually help us to experience that quiet space amidst all the confusion, all the overload of information, and the uncertainties, and the work that we are doing. And there seems to be no free time. It's like you have to really find this quiet time amidst everything that you're doing. It's not going to be like we are given 2-3 hours of free time and then we can just completely relax and be quiet. We need to learn to be quiet in everything that we are doing, in everything that we are getting caught up. So that is what the breath retention after exhalation will help us to experience. So Patanjali in the first chapter presents this as a solution to a disturbed state of mind. He says, Prachardana vidharanabhyam va pranasya. So throw the prana out, throw the breath out, and hold. Hold in a state of langhana, in a state of fasting the lungs. Not let anything come in. So hold something out is what Patanjali is talking about. While we are trying to see what more can I have, what more information can I have, what more can I do, what differently can I do, can we also learn to practice sometime during the day to just throw everything out and hold, okay, and just be quiet. That is what Prachardana Vidharanabhyam means. Vidharana is to hold ourselves in a certain state of emptiness, to empty ourselves of everything that we are so deeply attached to and compulsively holding on to. So to start with, how can we do it with the breath? Yeah, and so maybe there's a lot that we're already doing, there's a lot that we can do better, but this is about not doing anything, not even breathing. Yeah. So how do we practice that? We started with working with extending the exhalation first and then extending the inhalation, learning how to extend the breath to bring the quality of dirgha. We also have been working with the subtle breath with Ujjayi and other techniques. Then we worked with equal ratio, bringing the inhalation equal to the exhalation. Then we worked with extending the exhalation beyond the inhalation, maybe even making it double the length of the inhalation to experience a very calming, relaxed breath. That's what we did last week, right, with Anulama Ujjayi. I also spoke about how this technique is a very beautiful technique to relax ourselves, reduce our anxieties, quieten the mind, provided we have done it in a way that we have not overstretched our limit. So if we have overstretched our limit of trying to exhale too much, then we are like gulping the air in, and that's not a very nice way to breathe, and that's definitely going to increase our anxiety instead of reducing it. So be aware that when we using a technique, not let the mind control the breath, but rather let the breath guide the mind and tell how much is enough, how much is too much. Yeah. But as we're doing it, we're also very, very subtly pushing the boundaries in a way that we can expand our respiratory capacity. We can learn to exhale more, inhale more, and we all know today one of the most important things that we all can do sitting at home is really work on improving our immunity. And breathing has a very, very important role to play. And it's imperative that all of us recognize that we have to do this now. And we have to teach other people to do this more. Yeah. So, how to breathe better? We worked with that, and which means that we use the breath as our teacher and we listen to the breath. Don't overstep the intelligence of the breath by trying to push it, because there's no competition here. I don't need to breathe more than somebody else. I don't need to exhale or inhale more than somebody else. All that I have to do is respect my breath. Today, how it is, I have to just breathe. And maybe yesterday I had a longer breath, but today it is slightly shorter for whatever reason. I have to recognize that, but I have to respect where I am today and start from here. Yeah? So this is very, very important to remember. And as practitioners, the more we get caught up with techniques and ratios, we get into this idea of getting attached to ratios. Oh, I have to do 1:4:1 ratio. And I'm holding my breath like as if my lungs are going to burst. Why? And become more anxious after pranayama, become more angry after pranayama. Something is wrong. And something is seriously wrong if we are getting more anxious or more angry or more agitated after our pranayama. I remember at one point, Sir gave me a practice with a lot of bandhas in my practice. And then I used to do these. After a month, when I went back to him, he checked my pulse and he said, "Are you getting very angry nowadays?" I said, "Yeah." And I recognize that every time after my practice, I will flare up and my husband will ask me something just a very casual question, and I will react very badly. And I never recognized it was because of the bandhas. The breath retention, a lot of retention with controlling, and of course I wanted to do my best, and that's what happened. I got more angry. It could be the anger that I have suppressed a lot, because I have a tendency to do that. That was coming out for me to see what amount of anger I'm holding within me. But at another level, it was something that was actually making me very uncomfortable. So then he immediately changed the practice, and that completely changed my experience. But it was good for me to see my anger and how much I'm holding. And I'm not this very peaceful and nice person all the time. So coming to breath retention after exhalation. So we look at training the exhalation, then learning to inhale better. And the inhalation always start in a very, very gentle, relaxed way, okay? Like just let it happen and then slowly begin to deepen it. Like begin to breathe in from the upper chest all the way down. Let the diaphragm move down. Let the upper abdomen come out. Don't push the lower abdomen out on inhalation. Yeah? Don't, it's not like uh, pushing the abdomen or the abdominal organs, because if we're trying to push the lower abdomen out on inhalation, which a lot of people do, particularly in the beginning of practice, which is fine, but as we progress, we need to learn to hold the lower abdomen slightly in and not push it out on inhalation, because essentially what we're doing is we are pushing the organs out towards the wall of the abdomen. We're also pushing the organs down. We are also pushing the Mooladhara down. So the root, the base has to be held up slightly and not pushed down. Okay, this is also to maintain the integrity of the organs in the lower abdomen area. So we need to be inhale in a way where we are not pushing the lower abdomen out. How do we allow ourselves to breathe into the upper abdomen comfortably with proper movement of diaphragm without pushing the lower abdomen out is what we will learn to train ourselves to do. Learn to do it in lying postures first. You get more and more comfortable. Try to do that in seated postures. And it helps to keep a hand in the lower abdomen so that you can feel that the breath is slowly moving into the lower abdomen. You don't want to push it. Okay? So remember that. Now, the caution is if somebody has anxiety or you have a tendency for anxiety, like if you're a Vata Prakriti person, and today with the current situation, a lot of people are experiencing a lot of anxiety. Don't worry about all this. Just breathe into the abdomen because it is more important to calm the mind, to relax the mind, reduce the anxiety than worry about whether I am pushing the lower abdomen out or not. So the context and whom we are teaching and who is practicing is also very important. But as we progress, slowly train not to push the lower abdomen out on inhalation. Coming to the exhalation, drawing the lower abdomen in. We're not doing any bandhas, we're just gently drawing the lower abdomen in. And as we do that, allow the chest to fully relax. See, in class when we teach, we are carefully observing. We would spend like half an hour teaching somebody how to exhale, and we will do it at least for the first few sessions repeatedly till the person has learned to breathe in a different way. It's like learning a new habit. So a new habit has to be trained continuously. So as a teacher, I have to watch how are they breathing out? Are they tensing up the neck shoulder area? Are they tightening the diaphragm area? You know, sometimes people pull the upper abdomen in and the lower abdomen is very lax. So I have to watch all these patterns and correct them slowly, gently. Over a period of time, some of these patterns will change, have to change. And then we get to breathe more efficiently. So we have to watch, observe, and teach. And you know, in people who have done teacher training with Yoga Vayani, we know that it's not so easy. You say go and teach 3 people at least how to exhale better. You come back with 100 questions because everybody is breathing differently. Everybody has different breathing patterns. And as we grow up, as we grow older, we have already learned to breathe badly in so many different ways. And so to unlearn those habits are very difficult. Okay, so exhalation and inhalation. And then we were also pausing briefly after exhalation and inhalation. After exhalation, the pause is more natural. There is a natural pause in our natural breath, but the pausing after inhalation is not so natural. Because inhale is much more active in our natural breath, and then exhale is passive. So you inhale and you exhale. So try to pause after inhalation at least for 2 seconds. Okay. Now the next step will be to train to hold the breath. So these 4 components of the breath, we have learned to exhale, we have learned to inhale, and then the third will be to learn to hold the breath after exhalation. And then the fourth, we get to hold the breath after inhalation. Now, why do we learn to hold the breath after exhalation first? We look at the function of the exhalation that we were discussing before. You know, the whole idea of emptying and detoxifying the system. And the hold after exhalation extends this function a little bit more. So if I can exhale for 10 seconds, if I can hold my breath for 5 more seconds, to that extent, I'm able to extend the detoxifying, emptying function of my exhalation. Yeah. It activates my digestive fire. It helps to remove the impurities and the waste products. It also helps to calm my mind and really consolidate my exhalation when I hold my breath after exhalation. So the quietening and the stilling of the mind happens with hold after exhale. And in yoga therapy, this is the most important part of the breath. If you want to apply the breathing in yoga therapy, most of the time we work with hold after exhalation. And so first we train to exhale really long and deep, and then learn to hold a little longer. And all the advanced techniques in yoga therapy, where the real purification happens through bandhas, etc., are happening only if you have achieved a a sufficient capability to hold after exhalation without having to breathe in very quickly and rapidly. So you're training the breath to slowly get into advanced technique. So hold after exhalation becomes very important. And another very important reason is you will see that it is very easy to hold after inhalation. I can hold for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds comfortably after, for most people. I'm not saying it's a general rule, but most people. It's easy, and I can hold my breath with my will. My mind, I'd say I will hold my breath, and I can hold it. So it's easy, but you will begin to see your pulses raising. Sometimes people who are prone to anxiety can become more anxious if you're holding your breath too long after inhalation. So it can be a little risky because it activates your sympathetic nervous system. The same thing happens if you hold for too long after exhalation also. But holding after exhalation has a safety, it's like a safety valve, because after a point you can't hold. You will have to stop and take an inhalation. Your system will take over. So it's safer to train your breath to hold after exhalation first before you hold after inhalation. So let the breath lead you rather than the mind lead you. Okay. So for these reasons, we train to hold after exhalation. Today, what we will do is we'll start with the practice of what did we do last week? Anulom Ujjayi. Yeah, we'll build the ratio to 1:2 with Anulom Ujjayi, and then we're going to do Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Okay. And now Nadi Shodhana is really the pranayama that we aim to become more and more comfortable with. It's really like the queen of pranayama. Say, headstand is the king of asana. Nadi Shodhana is the queen of pranayama. Why am I not saying king? Okay, because I like the queen better than the king. Okay, so Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, it's like the ultimate goal in pranayama, but I want us to start practicing it right from now so that we get more and more comfortable. A lot of people, Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, because it's difficult, after some time we give it up. But I want us to train ourselves because it's really supposed to be purifying the nadis. It's called Nadi Shuddhi also. It purifies the nadis and helps to balance the left and right nadi. It helps to balance our sympathetic and parasympathetic activity. And there are many, many, many more benefits. You can read up and try to understand that more. So we will do Nadi Shodhana. So first I will take you through the technique of Nadi Shodhana. Since we have already done Anulom Ujjayi, it's not going to be difficult. So we'll start working with it. So Anulom Ujjayi with 1:2 ratio, and then Nadi Shodhana we will do again 1:2 ratio, and then we will introduce hold after exhale with Nadi Shodhana. Okay, and each one of us, you have experimented with your breath, right? You have identified what is your comfortable 1:2 ratio. It may be 4:8, it may be 5:10, it may be 6:12, whatever that might be. To start Anulom Ujjayi, you begin with a slightly lower ratio. So if you are comfortable right now with 5:10, 5 inhale, 10 exhale, don't start with 5:10, start with 4:8. Okay, if you're comfortable with 4:8, start with 3:6. It's always better to start a little less and then build it up rather than start at a higher ratio, because we won't know whether we are ready for it today. Okay, Nadi Shodhana technique. So we learn to exhale through alternate nostril with Mrigi Mudra. So again, looking at the technique of how we hold the fingers and where we hold it and how we hold the hand in a way that the head, neck and spine are aligned. We are not pulling the head away. Your chin is down. So Jalandhara Bandha ideally, because you're also helping the breath to flow in one stream all the way down. And how you control the flow of the breath by really feeling the breath at the fingertips here. Yeah, you have to feel the flow of the breath here. Okay. So what we did was we focused on inhalation with Ujjayi. At the end of the inhalation, you brought your hands to the nostrils. You closed the right fully and the left partially. You exhaled through the partially closed left nostril. You completed your exhalation. And when you wait after exhalation, you bring your hand down. And then bring your attention to the throat and then you begin to inhale. When you complete your inhalation, pause. And this time you're closing the left fully, right half. Exhale through the half closed right nostril. Wait, complete your exhalation, and then bring your hand down. And then bring the attention to the throat. Start inhale. With Nadi Shodhana, we are going to inhale and exhale using nostril control. So hopefully your nostrils are not blocked. If you have blocked nostrils today, any one of the nostrils are blocked, then this may not be a very good technique right now because partially blocked nostrils, if you try to inhale through them, they will block further. So it's okay to do Anulam Ujjayi. So you continue with Anulam Ujjayi and you can get back to this when your nostrils are clearer, or in the morning do some Kapalabhati, clear the nostrils and then do this. Okay. So what we're going to do is Nadi Shodhana. We always begin with exhalation. So bring your hands to the you can try it as I am teaching you. So Mrugya Mudra, close the right nostril fully, the left partially, exhale through that. Inhale through the partially closed left nostril. You can bring your hand down. Exhale with the throat. Just do a couple of breaths with Anulam Ujjayi. Sorry, Vilom Ujjayi. So you're inhaling with nostril control, exhaling with the throat. Bring the hand back. Close the left fully, right half. Inhale through the half closed right nostril. Complete your inhalation, bring your hand down, exhale with the throat. Do a couple of more breaths, one more round to test if your nostrils are clear or you're having discomfort inhaling through the nostril. Okay. Now, if you're comfortable with nostril control inhalation, we'll get to Nadi Shodhana. So you're going to exhale through the left fully, inhale through the left, close the left nostril fully, right half open, exhale through the half open right nostril. Once you've completed the exhalation, inhale through the half open right nostril. Shift to the left, exhale through the half open left nostril. Inhale through the same nostril. Close the left, open the right partially, exhale through the half closed right nostril. Inhale through the same nostril. Close the right, open the left partially, exhale through the half closed left nostril. And bring your hand down. So the nostril through which you're exhaling is the same nostril through which you're inhaling. And remember, you're not taking the hand off. You are regulating it. You are closing one fully, the other half, and narrow down the passage and feel the flow at your fingertips. You have to feel the flow of the air at your fingertips. Okay? So that you can make it more and more subtle and even and smooth. Now, when you begin Nadi Shodhana, if you haven't done it before, you might feel the need to open your mouth and take a few breaths or at least one breath in between. Doesn't matter. So you can do that and then come back to the technique so that you can slowly over a period of time develop the comfort with the technique. So don't give it up because it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning. But always remember the length of the breath and the subtlety and the smoothness of the breath is according to what you're able to do right now. Okay, don't push, don't try to strain yourself. Now we will begin the practice. We're going to start with Anuloma Ujjayi. So take a lower ratio, 1:2 ratio. If you're comfortable with 5:10, start with 4:8 and take maybe 2 rounds of 4:8 and then try to step it up by one more uh, second of inhalation and 2 more seconds of exhalation and do another 2 rounds of Anuloma Ujjayi. Okay. Exhale completely. Inhale, focusing on the throat. Exhale through the left nostril, half closed. Complete the exhalation. Bring your hand down. Bring the focus back to the throat and then inhale. Pause after inhalation. Bring the hand back and exhale through the other nostril, half closed. Bring the hand down. Inhale, focusing on the throat. Exhale through the left, half closed. Right is fully closed. Pause after exhalation. Bring your hand down. Shift the focus to the throat and then inhale. Pause after inhalation. Bring the hand back to the nostrils. Exhale through the other nostril, half closed. Now, with the next 2 rounds, try to extend the inhalation by 1 more second if you're comfortable, and by exhalation by 2 more seconds. 2 more rounds of Anuloma Ujjayi. complete with this breath and then come back to your natural breath. Since I don't know the length of your breath, I'm sorry if you're not able to complete the 2 rounds. Just complete with this breath. Relax. And remember building the ratio and identifying what is my comfortable ratio that is not too difficult or too easy is itself a learning process. We have to do this very, very carefully with great attention. Not too much, not too less. Just the right level that you are comfortable, your breath is comfortable. So anything that agitates the breath should be avoided at any cost. This is especially for Pitta Prakritis who have this very strong competitive nature. So no competition with the breath. Okay. Now we get ready for Nadi. So stay with the lower 1:2 ratio or the higher 1:2 ratio, whatever you deem fit right now. Exhale completely. Bring the Mrige Mudra to the nostril. Partially close the left nostril, fully close the right nostril, and inhale through the partially closed left nostril. And then close the left nostril fully, open the right half, exhale through the right. Lengthen the exhalation, gently drawing the lower abdomen in, relaxing the chest, slowing down the breath. Pause after exhale. Now close the right, inhale through the right. Inhale through the right half closed. Close the right, open the left partially and exhale through the left. One more round, free inhale, exhale. Inhale through the right, inhale through the left, half closed. Close the left, exhale through the right, half closed. Inhale through the same nostril that you exhaled now. Exhale through the left nostril. Bring your hand down. And in your mind, decide what is your ratio going to be very clearly. And you would just stay with it, even if it is simple, even if it is difficult, bring it down. If it is simple, just stay with it, doesn't matter. Okay, decide in your mind what is your ratio going to be based on the experience of your past 2 breaths. Just for now. 1:2. Okay, once you've decided, you do 4 rounds of Nadi Shodhana. That will be 8 breaths. Once you complete 2 rounds, after each exhalation, bring your hand down and pause for a while before you feel the need to inhale, and then take your hand back and start inhaling. So just pause for a while, maybe 3, 4, or 5 seconds after exhalation. So you can also rest your hand down and then take your hand back and then inhale. 2 more rounds with an extended pause after exhalation. Another 2 rounds. Stay with the extended pause after exhalation, maybe 3 to 5 seconds, and see if you can continue to keep your hands at the nostrils without having to bring them down. 2 more rounds of Nadi Shodhana. Inhale and exhale ratio is 1:2, and then holding the breath after exhalation. It might be equal to inhalation or slightly lesser than the inhalation. The retention is in such a way that you're absolutely relaxed and still. The body is still, the breath is still, and therefore the mind can become still. Now, based on the quality of your inhalation, based on how you feel in your body as you are inhaling, and the quality of your exhalation, try to regulate the length of the retention after exhalation. If you need to step down the ratio, do that. You need to hold your breath after exhalation a little lesser, do that. Complete with this breath. Bring your hands down. Just stay with the same ratio, 1:2, without the hold, for a few more breaths with Ujjayi. Come back now to your natural breath. Drop the regulation, just relax. And you can open your eyes. I think today's practice was very, very short. Adishodhana. I think I was talking too much. Um, so you got a taste of how this can be done. More than, of course, the technique is important and how you regulate it to make the breath very smooth and subtle is important. But to also know what is your limit with the inhalation and exhalation is very important. So what decides the ratio will be how long you can inhale comfortably. So your exhalation is usually very long. So if, let's say, your exhalation is going up to say 20 seconds and your inhalation is like 5 or 6, it's a huge disparity. Yeah. So you know that you need to build your inhalation slowly over a period of time and bring it to maybe 10, so that exhale 20, inhale 10 is comfortable. Very often, because we are focusing, particularly in this tradition, a lot on exhalation, we may keep building our exhalation a lot and not paying attention to the inhalation. And a lot of times people say, oh, I did my pranayama and I was feeling so sleepy, because the inhalation is very, very short. And you keep on extending the exhalation in asana, in pranayama, and everything. So it's important to build our inhalation. But after you have sufficiently lengthened the exhalation, you work on the inhalation. We'll come to that a little later. But now we are just working with 1:2 ratio and hold after exhalation. Just getting a taste of that retention, Bahya Kumbhaka, is very important. Because if we don't start using Bahya Kumbhaka earlier in our practice, even if it's a very, very short period, we may tend to skip it. We get off into the Antah Kumbhaka, which is very easy. I want to hold my breath for 64 seconds after inhalation. For what? To become more anxious? Bahya Kumbhaka is more important. Yeah, empty and be free of what we are gathering. And I think a very important idea from the Yoga Sutra is the idea of aparigraha and santosha. Aparigraha, which is part of the yamas, santosha, which is part of the niyama. So aparigraha is to have less. And I think those of us in India who are quite new to a lot of housework will agree that we really wish we had less furniture, less vessels to wash, less clothes to wash, yeah, fold, iron, etc., etc. So aparigraha is having less. And I think this idea of exhalation and retention after exhalation is a very beautiful metaphor for aparigraha. And that is the one which is going to make me content, santosha. Not having more, but having less. It's having to take care of less, having to spend less time taking care of things, yeah, so that we can focus on what's more important. So stay with this idea, and I'm sorry we have very less time for questions. Those of you who can stay a little longer so that we can complete the questions today, the others can log off whenever you need to go and listen to the recording. Okay, so I'm going to go very quickly through the questions. Maggie, your question is from forcefully taking the breath after a long. Yeah, so reduce the length of your exhalation and slowly build it. Yeah. Because if you need to forcefully take the in breath, it means you have exhaled more than what you should, or you have contracted too much, or you might be tensing up your neck, shoulder, throat area. So watch that. These are sometimes habits. Habitually, we do that without being conscious. So watch it and relax and keep the mouth slightly open. So you're letting the air escape and not holding it. So you don't feel that need to gulp the air in. Yeah, so that's what we call shvasa prashvasa breath. It's a disturbed breath. So never get to that pattern of breathing. Okay. So yeah, that can cause anxiety. Yeah, and anxiety also can make us breathe like that. You get angry or hungry, Barbara? Angry. Ah, okay. So what you can do with Nadi Shodhana is take a lower ratio. Let's say 3 inhale, 6 exhale, work with it. 4 inhale, 8 exhale, work with it. Till you get very, very comfortable with the technique itself. Or maybe even don't use any technique. If you are like a very person who is very particular about being perfect, if you like to work with numbers, drop the numbers. Just inhale freely, exhale freely. Just keep doing that for a long time, maybe for a couple of weeks at least. And then observe what is your comfortable inhale, exhale, and then work with the ratio. Okay? So don't use ratio for now if it makes you angry. Now, there are many other things that can make us angry also. Um, for example, if we we are very tired, yeah, or if we have not slept well, um, and there may be other reasons why we may be feeling, and this technique is like one more thing that adds on. So observe other things that may be also the reason why you feel angry. And then I also mention about my experience. Sometimes we have to see our anger. What's that we're holding within us that we're not seeing and imagining, oh, I never get angry. That, yeah. What is there inside is coming out with your Nadishodhana. So take care of your anger. Yeah. Like Thich Nhat Hanh says, embrace your anger and see what it has come to teach us. What about Viloma or inhale in Nadishodhana? Should we practically close the nostril, less so on the inhale, just to allow the exhalation twice as long? No. So it's not that you are closing it more, because the regulation happens, it is the length, how long you're extending. It is not about making it narrower. And even this, like we're saying, half closed. How do I know it is half closed? It is really feeling it with your fingertips and knowing just enough passage so that the breath is very smooth and subtle. So it is not about closing it more because I want to exhale longer, but um, just paying attention to the smoothness and the subtlety of the breath. So this is again something that we have to keep experimenting to figure out. That's why I said just feel the breath, feel it more and more in your fingertips. You have to feel the breath flowing through the nostril at your fingertips, and your body will tell you. You will know how to learn to regulate it. So not so much with the mind, but with what your nostrils and your fingertips are allowing you to work with. I hope that answers your question, Mike. Okay, Shakuntala, please shoot the other questions, and have one more from Christina. I'm able to inhale longer or better from one nostril compared to the other, not due to blocked nostril, but even if the nostrils are clear. So we have the circadian rhythm, right? There is a time when the breath is flowing through one nostril more strongly than the other. Even right now, if you can feel the exhalation or the inhalation stronger in one nostril. It may be the left or the right. Yeah. Now, at this point, so it's usually like a 4-hour cycle. When you do Nadi Shodhana at this time, like for me, the right is stronger right now. Maybe it's a good time for me to eat. I'm also hungry. So when the right is stronger, I can feel, I can do the regulation better. It is much longer on the right than the left. the idea is to learn to balance. So as I continue to work with the ratio, it's not that I exhale or inhale longer through the right and lesser through the left. That's where the rhythm is very important. That's why Nadi Shodhana is such a beautiful technique, because it will teach me how to balance. Not do more because I can do more, but really learning to balance it so that I can bring it equal. Okay, so maybe it is not strong enough through the left, but let the left decide how you should breathe in and out through the right, so that slowly we can balance it out. But there will still be a difference based on the rhythm of the flow of the breath through the nostril. Inhale wants to be longer than say 5-10 with Viloma or Nadi Shodhana. Okay. So fine. I think what we're doing is we're experimenting with different ratios. So if you want to have a longer inhalation, that's fine, and work with a different kind of a rhythm. Okay, you can do 8 inhale and 10 exhale. Fine. You don't always have to do 5 and 10, but the the effect of the practice will be different. So observe that. Okay, so we have to establish a rhythm that is appropriate for us, and sometimes it might be like 8 inhale 12 exhale, which is fine, and try to stay with that rhythm. Don't make every breath different, because we want to experiment, and it's not a mathematics class, it's simply pranayama session. So just maintain a very simple ratio and stay with it. Okay.
Saras, there are a long list of questions. I'll share the document.
Okay.
Maybe you can answer as much as possible.
Yeah. I'm also hungry. So.
Yeah. So this came to the Yogavahini Chennai email.
So Barbara, one more thing is, sometimes when we are very hungry, we can become angry. So observe that. I had collected a few questions. Okay. While Brahmari helps in extending the exhales, I feel tired and the throat also feels dry. What can be done in this case, because the exhales haven't yet been extended fully? Okay, so again, it is about the technique. You can keep some warm water next to you and sip, so you keep the throat moist. That's important. And keep the Brahmari maybe more subtle. If it is too loud, it can dry up the throat and irritate it. And again, it is a certain way of regulating the breath, making it subtle, but also extending effortlessly. It should not be effortful. So the need that I have to exhale, I have to extend, the mind is telling you that. The mind can be quiet, enjoy the breath. I think the Brahmari is such a beautiful technique. They say, there's so many benefits of Brahmari, particularly in today's situation, to boost our immunity, to fight infections, to really open up the channels, to produce more nitric oxide. There's just so many beautiful benefits of Brahmari. To enjoy it to your maximum, make it more subtle. Okay, and just let it extend to the extent it is allowing itself to be extended. Relationship between apana and the chest, neck, shoulder area. Notice that when working with apana region using exhales, I also feel corresponding sensation. Yeah, this is a very interesting thing, because the apana vayu, which is supposed to be moving downward, when we start activating the apana vayu, in a very strange way, it helps to relax your the area of the udana vayu, so that the udana vayu can lift itself up. So the apana has to move down so that the udana can move up. Okay, and particularly when people have neck shoulder pain and a lot of tension around this upper body, working with the apana actually helps to relax this better. It also takes the mind away from the area of pain. So begin to observe this more carefully. How the apana helps to strengthen the udana vayu, and the movement of the Udana Vayu upward, which means that we really need to consciously learn to relax the neck shoulder area. How does good exhalation increase inhalation? Simple science. You empty better, you fill better. Yeah. And just experiment with it and find out, because inhaling more doesn't extend in exhalation. Exhaling more definitely helps to extend inhalation up to a point. After some point, if you try to exhale too much, your inhalation will become shorter. So you have to find the right measure. So, and maybe this is a good question to stay with as you do your practice, and you'll find how that happens. Shitali, when you roll the tongue back and bring our neck down, chin down, should we release the jihva bandha when the exhalation starts, or when we pause after inhalation in Shitali, should the jihva bandha? Ideally, maintain the jihva bandha throughout the exhalation. Okay? That's the classical technique. In Anulomo Ujjayi, I notice different capacity or counts in the nostril. Some days the left nostril exhalation is longer than the right and vice versa. This disturbs me, and I know the imbalance between the sides. What is the way to manage? Yeah, so I think this question was answered. If you try and do your pranayama different time of the day, like morning, before lunch, evening, later in the evening, you observe this rhythm and maybe make notes, so it will help you to understand your rhythm better. Okay, so it is a natural rhythm, and sometimes it may be that one side your breath is weaker than the other. Like for me, I notice most of the time my right is stronger than the left. It may have to do a lot with also the way we work. The right is also the masculine, the left is the feminine. Sometimes, like I have a lot of health problems usually come on my left side, not so much on my right side. So right is a stronger side that supports the left. And that's what I observe in my breathing. So just observe and try to understand what is happening rather than telling yourself this is how it should be. Okay? Get the mind out of the way. The judging mind, I mean, not the exploring, curious mind. Okay? During pauses in Anuloma Ujjayi, should both the nostrils be closed or should the hands be brought down? Initially, you can bring the hands down because you're going to focus on the throat. You can bring the hands down, especially if your exhale is going to be very long. There is, you can bring your hand down during the inhalation to relax your shoulder. But if you are comfortable, you can keep the hand here, but you're not regulating, you're not controlling, just keeping the hand here and focusing on the throat. The problem is when you keep the hand here, the tendency for the mind to go and regulate here will be stronger. So it's better to bring the hand down initially. Getting the technique right, compromising with the breath agitates the mind, definitely does. It is a double bind. These are things we have to learn, because when I observe carefully what kind of tendencies come up with my mind in my pranayama practice, I recognize the same pattern comes up in many other areas of my life. Impatience, for example, judgment, for example, wanting to do things only one way, being a little rigid about how we want things to get done or how we want things to be. We recognize the same patterns come up in our pranayama practice, right? Observe them, and it's a great way to understand what's happening. Is it necessary that we move our hand after every breath, or can we keep it away from the face? Taking time to bring the hand down very quietly without moving the body, without moving the breath, is itself a meditative practice. And at that time, you are not breathing in, you're not breathing out, you're pausing and quietly bringing the hand down. Then shift the focus to the other desha, whether it's the throat or the nostril, and then do it. So taking it up quietly, focusing on the nostril, bringing it down quietly, may be itself a great way to work with the transitioning from the inhale to the exhale. Need to swallow saliva? Yeah. I think different people, there are different effects. And so is it normal? Absolutely normal food. So whatever is happening is normal food. If you observe, if you have just had some water, maybe you need to take some time before you start the practice. Or if you've just eaten very recently, even if it is like you munched on a small piece of fruit, there is more saliva secretion, and that might also interfere. So begin to understand why this is happening. Uh, but as long as it is not disturbing you, it's okay. Swallow the saliva and continue. Okay. So sorry, I had to go very quickly through the questions. I hope, and this is not like the absolute answer to the question. If I think more carefully, I may have other answers coming up, but I just don't want to delay any further. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your being part of the practice, and please continue through the week. I'll meet you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The prayer.
Thank you, Saras.
Just chant Om together once. Thank you. Bye. Have a nice week.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Stas.
Thank you. Thank you.